Good evening. This is a meeting of the Hampden Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health being held in the Townhouse Auditorium, September 9th, 2024, 6 p.m. This meeting is being conducted in person and remotely using video. Is it working? Video conferencing technology. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is anyone recording the meeting other than ourselves? Kristen Rivers from the Wilbraham Hampden Times is recording. Thank you, Kristen. First item is minutes from the August 26, 2024 meeting. Let's see, we had the fire department was here to give us updates on the brush truck and other issues. The police department was here to talk about bulletproof vests. The highway superintendent was here to talk about the East Brook Bridge project, maybe. We had a discussion with the town meeting moderator and the town clerk regarding electronic voting. We discussed the Thornton Burgess lease briefly. Community compact grants, vacancies in the Conservation Commission, and the Cannon, which will soon be recovering. And we had correspondence from Attorney Fancy, Attorney Stratton, and the Great Host on a guy about wanting to be on the town meeting warrant and for his proposed zone change. We had a letter from the planning board suggesting that we shouldn't charge the self-storage for advertising, and some selectmen notes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is the Gray Horse's request to be placed, the zone change to be placed on the town meeting, fall town meeting warrant. Before I do that, I want to say one thing, that the last time, and I know you were fulfilling your responsibility to zealously advocate for your client, and you mentioned that your client was the largest taxpayer, the largest employer, and the largest landowner in town. I just want to make it very clear, it doesn't matter when you come before the board. Our decisions are based on the merits of your proposal. The issue is not whether you're the biggest employer, or the biggest taxpayer, or the biggest thing. I appreciate your advocating for your client. Right? The other issue I have is I live on one of the streets that will probably be I don't believe I'm a direct abutter, but I live on one of the streets that will probably be impacted by any zone changes made. And also I own property that I think that abuts a property that abuts Great Horse. So I'm going to ask the town council if I can participate in these votes and things, and so I won't be voting on it. I'll be abstaining tonight. So go ahead. Attorney Fancy?
Yes, thank you. I want to start by thanking you guys for having us tonight, as well as the expediency of this matter. I know obviously we've kind of condensed it down, and with the help of the board and the help of planning and town staff, they have helped us kind of expedite this process that might have taken, longer period of time, but work with great efficiency. So we really do appreciate everyone at the town from top to bottom for helping us with this. As it kind of says in my note, we are looking to get on the town warrant because we feel as though the town itself has a greater impact on a zone change being heard at the fall town meeting rather than a subsequent, maybe special town meeting, which would require 200 signatures. This is a large landowner in the community. They are looking to change a zone that would be a substantial change, which is residential, to golf recreation. Golf recreation would allow them to keep their underlying farm use, which they still intend to use for the time being, but also move a shed, which is a warehouse or a golf warehouse facility shed that is currently on their other property, and move it over. They can't do that now because it's an accessory use to a golf facility. If they were to move it, that'd be a zoning violation. If we rezone it, then they can move the golf facility or the maintenance shed there onto the parcels we're requesting the zone change for. But as I said, we do think it would be appropriate for you to authorize us to do the warrant, as it would be a substantial change in the town, and the fall town meeting is different than other town special meetings where it's more largely attended, it's more largely advertised, so anyone who would like to have a say on this or give any sort of input would be more likely to come to the fall meeting rather than a subsequent 200 signature petition special meeting.
Just for clarification, fall town meeting is special town meeting.
It is
a special-
legally,
It's not the annual town meeting.
yeah, it's not. So legally, it's considered a special town meeting.
Right.
But the way Hampden advertises it is as a fall town meeting, I believe.
Right. Legally, it's
Special, though.
special. So it's not an annual meeting, as opposed to what's the one in May, which is the big meeting, the large meeting, the one where, all the budgets and everything are set forth. So that's the big one.
Correct.
Typically, fall is secondary to that. So it's not the big one,
Yes.
as you're referring to.
Well, it's larger than if you had a 200 signature petition put forward that would require a special meeting to go forward, say in the first week of December or something like that.
Right.
Where
Well,
you might have
You're talking
not
about
done.
calling an actual special town meeting,
Yes.
but this is still technically a special town meeting.
Yes, correct, but I think because of it being advertised and being more well-known to the community, this is a little bit different than a typical special petition town meeting. This is a,
You had mentioned moving the building from the current location to the old Ketty Farm would be a zoning violation.
yes,
Why do you believe that?
it's an accessory use to a golf recreation facility. Currently, one of the only areas where you can do it is in golf recreation. So because they store equipment, which is maintenance and other golf-related facility equipment in that shed, if they moved it into a residential zone, then they couldn't currently have it on that property without, causing a zoning violation, which obviously they do not want to do.
Now, does that also take into account any golf-related options or business on that Ketty property?
You mean for future use?
No, currently.
Currently.
Right.
You mean there's currently,
Well, my question is, if it's going to be building constructed for golf use on the Ketty property, does that mean any type of golf-related use on that property right now is not allowed?
correct, under the zoning bylaws.
What about the cart paths that go back and forth from Great Horse across Raymond Drive to the Ketty Farm now?
Is it part of the easement area, which might be covered by the,
Oh, that's what I'm asking, I don't know.
if there's an easement area that's covered by the golf recreation, so that might be it. But the majority of the parcels, if you look at them on the GIS and the town's master plan, they're currently zoned residential, R4 and R6. So I think if you're talking about the cart paths, it's probably
Right,
included.
the one that goes from the current country club golf course all the way to the Ketty Farm.
Yeah, I think that's part of the easement property.
But that's allowed?
I believe so. More so focused on I didn't look into the.
Well, I'm just asking, I was just, going off what you're saying, so I was questioning, if there was an extra curb cut or something put in there, does that
No,
fall
it's
in?
just, there's an easement portion that is part of the golf recreation, but that's the extent of it. The remaining parcels that we're requesting are all residential.
Before we get too much further, I'm just curious, since we have a guy here, what's going on at the top of Country Club Drive at the moment?
We're just doing some work on the backside of the golf course up 18.
Okay. Is that going to be a permanent access road now, or is that just something that you're going to fix back up afterwards?
Well, we're using it to bring material into the back there. We own right there.
Sure, yeah, and I know you own it, but, it's like somebody drove a truck through it and knocked down all the brush, and it used to be a nice walking path, and now, I know it's your property. I'm just curious, what the plans are there. If it's going to be a permanent, curb cut, then, obviously it has to get
I don't know if
rezoned.
it's gonna be a permanent thing. I know we're gonna use it during the construction. The construction will probably last, another few weeks back there, because it's gonna get broken up over time. And then, like this winter, I might go in and do some more work off the 17th hole, and it's the easiest way to get in there.
Okay.
So,
Do you normally go to the highway superintendent to just say, hey, we're looking to access a curb cut per se, or, any type of construction or anything like
I
that?
didn't talk to Mark this morning, no.
Okay.
But,
I know in the past you have,
I've
right?
talked to Mark numerous times, but for that one, I didn't really think it was that, I didn't think it was necessary.
Okay. I'm just asking because I had somebody call me, and
Yeah, no,
I like to,
Yeah.
respond to all calls, so I figure you're here tonight's perfect
Yeah.
opportunity to talk about it, somebody said they were hiking and there was a truck coming down, and it's like, well, I've never seen this here before, you know, a little concerning, you know?
Yeah.
You know, when you have a walking path that's now a 12-foot path, so. I know it's your property, so,
Yeah.
you know, you're right to do what you want, but, you know. Want to know if there's any type of permanency coming.
At this moment, I can't answer that question. I don't really know yet.
Thank you.
So basically before us is we have a request for a warrant article. You already have it scheduled with the planning board to have a hearing on
September 25th.
25th, okay. And they're taking care of notifying the abutters?
Yes,
They
so
got a certified list from,
So the first notice, which is publication, has been already published.
I saw it in the Times,
25th,
right.
And then the secondary notice will be coming in the following week.
but the certified abutter list taken care of
They didn't send us a certified abutters list.
for a zone change, not needed, Seth? No?
This is just a referral too, but we can double check with planning, because
Okay.
normally it's 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a recommendation,
Okay,
but we will confirm ahead of that. I believe that typically doesn't kick in if there is anything until 14 days. I think we're a little bit in advance.
so Don, the request before us is just to, are we going to go ahead and put the warrant article on the warrant?
Correct.
Okay,
Are you making a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Any second? Well, I said I was going to abstain, but I'll second her for the purpose of taking a vote. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 2 abstentions. The motion doesn't pass.
Can I ask the chair, can I ask Craig, why would you abstain?
I want to get the planning board referral, hear that their referral on the 25th. We still have time to close the warrant, to put it on the warrant the week on the 30th, the day of closing. So at that point, you know, if planning board feels it's favorable, then I would vote for it, yes.
So basically, at that point, it'd be a referral from the planning board for a warrant article.
Correct, right, because they have to go for public hearing, so
That would make
I'd like,
more,
I'd like,
that would make more sense that way. All right,
that's-
so you're not denying it?
I'm not
based on-
denying it, no.
Right.
No, I'd like to hear the planning board's referral and, you know, any input from the residents that may be at that hearing.
And I actually do think Ms. Fancy's point about the, I won't say transparency, but the fact bringing it to a larger town meeting shows your willingness to make sure that the community's engaged in the process, rather than a potential, we've always been loath to have quick town meetings where we don't get participation. So I think it is good.
We'd actually rather not have them and just decide ourselves.
If I
It's on
might
record, Don, thanks.
add on that, I understand the abstention. I do think that would put us at a significant disadvantage, because that would be 5 days, I believe, before the deadline that we must submit to be on the town warrant, which is 30th. So that obviously puts a significant impediment to get the 100 signatures if we are going to still try to get onto that, or we'd have to go the other route, which would be obviously less transparent of the 200 signatures trying to do it maybe in November or December.
Yeah, if I could, when we were here last time, and certainly you're entitled to vote however you see fit, but the request was to try to do that to avoid the need to, frankly, you know, we feel comfortable we'll be able to get 100 signatures and get it on the town warrant, but that's a lot of energy. And in time, if that's going to be the ultimate result, and if there's a process where the select board can refer it to the warrant without having to collect all the signatures, that's certainly a benefit. If we have to wait until that date because of timing, we'll have to get the signatures anyway. So it is what it is, but I don't, because when are you next meeting before the deadline?
Currently, we meet every Monday, currently.
So I think if the planning board,
It might be the 30th, isn't the 30th Monday?
30th is Monday.
That would be the day that they would meet, would be the last possible date.
right, so we would have to get the signatures anyway, which kind of defeats the point of a referral. But
I will also make the point that the date we set to close the warrant is our date. And the board in the past has, under extenuating circumstances, opened the warrant, added articles, and closed it again.
Or deferred putting, closing.
Right. So it's not a date set in law, it's a date
It's kind of
set
the
for
date where we said
convenience,
we
so we
wanted
make
to
sure,
get their stuff submitted to us, so we kind of have a planning process of a month.
because we're also, we don't want to make sure that, we want to make sure that every board committee has engagement in the process. So you don't want to bring the warrant out 3 days before the town meeting, like, what a surprise,
And post it to the public.
right? It is before the planning board. Can we at least talk about a placeholder at this point for potential zone change?
I think it's on there, isn't it?
That does.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
May I ask,
Yeah.
what day are you planning to go in front of the planning board?
The 25th?
25th of September? And when's the warrant closed?
September 30th.
We tentatively set the date September
Sunday,
30th,
they said the 30th.
but that's never always, you know, John, not a hard date.
No, but I think we're trying to keep that. Am I correct in saying that?
It would be nice.
I mean, that would give
For
it,
a change.
For change.
Haven't been able to do it the last 3 years, so.
no, but we're attempting to, I think, and that was a good thing.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fire Department, new probationary call firefighter.
Good evening.
Good evening, chief.
Dave,
How may we help you?
another nice shirt.
Before the board, I bring a new candidate for a probationary firefighter position in fire department. He's from East Long Meadow, just over the line. He'd be a good range for response time. And he'd be eligible for all our training and everything that Massachusetts, accommodates for the fire department. If he meets his,
Jared,
Yeah, how you guys doing?
why do you want to join?
So around this time last year, I had an incident at work where I went down with pretty bad dehydration, and fire and EMS responded that day. And I really noticed after getting to the hospital and becoming stable that, like, these people didn't know me at all, and they responded within 3 minutes and helped me in time that I really needed it. And I want to be a part of something in this community to give back to other people when they really need it in times of crisis.
Great.
Very upstanding of you.
Don, your question?
No, 22 years old, thank you for doing this, and I think you talked about you had a speeding ticket.
I like
You
your
didn't
honesty.
hide it. Oh, I appreciate the honesty, seriously. You were a lifelong
Like,
resident of this area?
we've never had one.
I just moved here last year from Belgium.
Oh, okay,
nice.
great. And you obviously stopped at the station, seen their operation, et cetera. Great. Well, this is your last chance to back out.
Jared was, he'd stop every couple of days, checking on the status of his application. He is interested in becoming a career firefighter, and I told him this is a good avenue to go. So, we talked quite a lot about it during our interview at the fire station.
Make a motion to appoint Jared Lyons to
Probationary.
deputy probationary fire chief, probationary firefighter, under direction of the fire chief,
Sorry, Ed.
pending all certifications.
That's what it is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Welcome
Jared.
aboard.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jared.
Make it work.
Good thing you didn't say clerk, boy.
All right. Next item is the Senior Center Building Committee update. Before we begin, I'd like to just have a point of clarification. I noticed in your minutes that there's some misperception about where the selectmen are on all these projects. As a matter of fact, I think that what was in the minutes, it says that it doesn't think that the Board of Selectmen has an agenda on how to attack the problems and projects coming up within the town. It was in your minutes, one of your board members said that. And I'd just like to point out that, you know, on this particular building, we had a $7 to $10 million assessment to renovate it and to bring it up to standards. And even if we spent that type of money, it wouldn't give us the space that we needed. So we had the opportunity at Thornton Burgess, and we engaged with the Wilbraham Regional School District and them to talk about getting the Thornton Burgess back to the town and to getting it used for the town hall. Also, maybe we could help out the senior center with some room, particularly if your proposal passes, you're gonna need to do some programming because your architect has told you that it's more expensive to work in things. And that'll give the town a lot more flexibility in terms of community engagement and items like that. And that would leave this building essentially vacant, and we could do what a lot of towns have done, and they've turned their old town halls, these historic buildings, into entrepreneurial places, public-private partnerships, educational, cultural type things, artist things, like that. So we could do that over 3 to 5. Additionally, we talked about the fire department, and the initial assessment was $2.5 million to $16 million. The $2.5 million would have just done repairs, but wouldn't give us any future needs to do. So we've gone back and said, look, tell us what you need, not what you want, not what we need. You want bells and whistles and that type of thing. And then we have the water district, which the town's approved $1.5 million for that. And we learned today that we're eligible. The DEP has invited us to apply for a $1 million grant to help pay for that.
Well, that is just phase A, no, $1 million.
Phase one.
And potentially.
Yeah, we divided up into 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. And my point of all that, I just want to make it clear, is that we do have a perspective on what's going on, and we do have a plan to get there. And if you hang around tonight, you'll see our implementation plan for Thornton Burgess. So, you know, and then when the senior center project was denied by the town meeting and by the voters, you came back to us, we said, okay, come back with something else. Here's $9,800 to pay for your architect to get us there. So that's where we are. I just wanted to make that clear, that although we may seem like we don't know what we're doing, we have a pretty clear-eyed plan of where we're headed and what we need for the town. Go ahead, give me the pitch.
First off, thank you for having us here tonight. And to address your statements, quite frankly, we recognize the fiscal concerns of the town. And obviously losing 2 votes, both town meeting and the Prop 2 override, brought us up short. We appreciate the selectmen approving additional funds and also supporting us for the warrant article to move forward. For the record, come end of October, this committee will have been in sessions, if you will, twice a month for 2 years. And at the direction of the selectmen, who felt that the senior center needed to be looked at 25 years out with regard to what are its needs. Since that Prop 2.5 override here in town, we've heard the community. We also heard from the selectmen about concerns versus renovation versus expansion. And so we asked, with your help and funding, we asked EDM to take a look at renovating the senior center and the current needs of the senior center, if you will, without expansion. And certainly, we heard that in the community also. why are you looking to expand if it's only renovations that are needed? And I have here tonight a couple of handouts, if you will. There is the options.
Oh, thanks, Gary.
B2, there are 6 there. B2 is the option basically presented at town meeting. B4 is the option that after 3 months of work with EDM and attempting to address concerns of the town, we believe that this option reduces the square footage needed for expansion.
That's the B4 option?
That would be the B4 option. It removes one of the multimedia rooms from the plan. It removes, if you will, one office for a resource person. And it does not move the vestibule of the senior center, which we felt would enhance architecturally, certainly, the functionality of the senior center. In addition to that, this other handout speaks to the costs for B4, but also at the bottom of the page, you will notice that there is a budget, if you will, for upgrading the needs of the senior center only in a very rough format. And we don't want to present to you that this was a full plan looked at for renovation. But over 2 years, we've recognized that the bathrooms need to be upgraded. We need a new roof. The HVAC is sorely underperforming and needs to be upgraded. If we add an upgrade to the bathrooms, then what's going to happen is that we are going to trigger the fire sprinkler system because of, you're going to open up the building, very small amount of area. And in looking at that budget of just renovation, if we upgrade the bathrooms, we open the door, if you will, similar to what happened here in the town hall with regard to ADA. And that is that there would be a certain number of bathrooms required, fixtures and turning radiuses for wheelchairs would need to be accommodated. And if we went that route, then we would lose space in the senior center for programs and for storage. And again, that was through discussion. We did not finalize a plan, but our architect in discussion, and I think you, Don and John have sat in, know that we asked him to do this with an eye on being somewhat frugal, if you will. We think that 2 million is probably not quite correct. It's probably would cost more, but we didn't want to put that number out there and have to say that we had a full plan like B4 to have to defend. As was pointed out by Mr. Flynn, we probably could get a grant for lighting, to upgrade the lighting there. National Grid or Mass Save would probably be able to help us with that. And as you can see, I noted that in there. But given that review, and also in looking at B4, we have reduced from 6.6 million the cost that we originally asked the town to support to 5.9 million. The cost of the building expansion goes from $5 million down to 4.7. Quite frankly, it would have been more in reduction if we hadn't lost the escalation clause that occurs by the delay in not performing the work, as you all know. Every month that goes by, there is there is an inflation cost, if I can, Don. That's the budget, if you will, for B4. So we heard the community. Quite frankly, we lost about $150,000 to $200,000 by us not being able to convince the town that the needs of the senior center were prescient, were forefront, because of inflation, because of escalation. We are going to present on October 9th another forum where, as you have asked us to do, show the needs. I think, quite frankly, in retrospect, our presentation at town meeting could have been better in explaining to the people in the community that it's not just a senior center, but it's a center that serves the community. We have people coming into that center who are not seniors, who rely on food, who rely on tax help, who rely on Social Security and advice. And so those are the things we're going to point out at the forum. And we believe that, you know, we are hopeful, if you will, that we will be able to convince the town that this budget and this expansion would fill the needs and the requirements in the future for us. One other point I would like to make is that we are going to undertake a capital program to solicit the community for additional funding to help reduce this cost as we go along. And so we will be, bad word, assuming we have the support of the town after town meeting, our capital program will be reaching out to members of the community for donations and additional funding to help reduce.
Kind of like what they did with the school and the playground and stuff. Everybody got on a brick and stuff like that.
Exactly. So you're aware, the Friends of the Seniors have been doing this continuously. They have raised a significant amount of money. They are continuing to try to raise funds. There's going to be car washes, and Bruno's is going to be donating 10. Geo's, I'm sorry.
Back touch a few years.
I know, I lose it. But they will be donating October 25th's receipts, basically, to the senior center. So, and there are a number of other businesses in town that have expressed interest in donating.
That's good.
Wilbraham.
And Wilbraham.
Races.
So this 5962 is the number you think you're gonna go with?
That would be the number at this point that we would.
Because when I sat in the meeting there, the architect didn't seem to, I mean, these aren't solid numbers, right? Yet?
They are.
Solid as they can be?
No, they are good enough in what we would be looking for. Yes.
Is there a reason why you just wrote cost opinion? I was just wondering if that was a strategical term, so he wouldn't be held liable for anything. I just,
Well, that's architectural speak.
like opinion, like usually people say, oh yeah, this is a quote or an estimate, we feel it's gonna come in here.
But the breakdown is significant. It's not something that they did, thrown together. And what we're going to do is put out on the website, the original budget was done, I think there's 34 pages of breakdown of costs for the original. And we will do the same thing with this because, again, he wanted to get us the number, but he'll break that all down.
I have a comment.
Sure.
And then a question. The comment is, based on what we saw at town meeting, all those breakdowns, make sure that they're plastered everywhere. Just because some people felt like they couldn't get those. So I think getting those out, like you're saying, get that in those numbers, whatever people can see it at a time. Mm-hmm. Second is just a question that I don't know an answer to, that maybe your time to sell, pretty much is what I'm gonna ask a question, and I want you just to pitch it, okay? For the public.
Sure.
You came back, asked for money, we sent you back with the tax to try to see what you can do to scale down a little bit, cut costs and eliminate. I know you only took off about 807 square feet from the initial plan to the one that you're proposing.
Correct.
You cut a couple things off, but it still looks primarily the same, and the full renovation still looks like it's gonna happen to the old building, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I don't have an opinion either way, I just want more of a, go ahead and sell the sizzle for the reasoning behind the committee's decision for this.
Where the reduction came from, is that what you're asking?
I'm probably asking it really bad, so I'll try to rephrase it again, I'm sorry. The committee's desire to go with option B4 in the square footage that's here, they feel the need that the remodel plus the expansion is what is needed. And I'm looking for just your explanations on that, as in, oh, well, we could have taken off the whole backside, or we could have foregone the remodel and saved money here, but this is what the committee felt was strongly needed. So explain to me why that you felt that that was the path to go forward.
Okay.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's more for the public knowledge.
Sure. And I guess I need to retrench a little bit in that over the last 2 years, we have spent time in getting input from Becky and her staff and getting input from our consultants and getting input obviously from the community, but the needs of and when I say the needs, that's what we will present on October 9th in terms of a lot more detail. But the needs of the center basically are storage. If you go there, we have boxes that prevent wheelchairs from going down certain, to get to certain offices at this point in time. And so in looking at B2 versus B4, the question of both, why did you come down a little bit, not a lot?
If you need storage, explain the need to remodel existing spaces. Is it out of date? Is it something wrong with it structurally? Is it to reconfigure the space, so there's space? You know, those type of things. You know, people are gonna ask these questions, so I'm just trying to prep you a little bit.
It basically comes down to, with regard to storage, that there is not enough room in 7,500 square feet of the existing center to put the tables, to have room for the canned goods and the food that is needed to be stored, for arts and crafts storage for the programs that go on. And so that storage need, you will see, the original center had about 450 square feet. We're now up an additional 300 plus square feet. Plus, there will be cabinets which will provide more storage that doesn't show in the square footage that we're talking about. Storage was a big one. The other is the bathroom. We have the bathrooms and you know, for lack of a better description, cutting toenails in the janitor's closet is because we don't have a nurse's office capable of taking care of that program. The bathrooms need to be upgraded. And when you do, then B4, B2, B1 come into play. And they take up a tremendous amount of square footage that the current center does not have. If we just wanted to upgrade bathrooms, then the middle of the senior center, the library, and that area, as you see on the B4, would be taken up. And so what we've done is to look at those issues particularly. And then there are program needs. There are needs where, if you look at the calendar, we get the scribe every month, and that's what I tried to point out at town meeting. And honestly, I wasn't trying to pit us against them kind of thing. That was not my intent at all. But I think, like many people there, I was not aware of all that the center does. And the scribe lays out how much square footage, if you will, is used on a daily basis and a weekly basis. And with all due respect, anybody who stands at the door knows there's more than 3 people a day going in. And I won't belabor it, but the use in that building is tremendous, and not just seniors. That's what also we're gonna point out, is that there are people that come into that center on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis who use the expertise of the staff there to get answers, if you will. And so what happens is those people come, they need an office. They need a quiet place to talk to the staff. They don't have that now. And if you look at the plan, we've added office space. B2, we cut one office out because we want to be prudent and to provide, enough office space, but also to recognize that we need to be frugal. So we have cut it down 800 square feet. And the original, when we went to town meeting, the original building cost was roughly 5 million. We're down at 4.7, but in actuality, we lost $200,000 worth of buying power in delay to get us to a building and an expansion. And so, like I say, we will be happy to dot the i's, if you will, at the forum, but it's the needs of storage, the bathrooms particularly, and the office space and program space that we're trying to fill for the next 25 years.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Have you guys thought about sending out mailers? I know you put stuff in the paper, but, kind of like, send out like a loose leaf, in the mail to everybody. You have an idea for that?
Look in the paper this week.
This week, okay.
Yeah, thank you. No, and you're right. I mean, we are trying to, bring it to the forefront a lot sooner. And like I say, the website, we are going to get the full breakout of what we're asking for as we go forward. Just as a quick note too, someone here in town said to me, well, in the old days, families took care of the seniors. Very true.
You did.
But these days, the seniors need additional services that families can't provide. And this center does that.
Gary, what's the owner's project 5%?
Basically, the owner's project is we're probably gonna need an OPM. There was a discussion at the last meeting that.
This would be a professional manager?
Yeah, project manager.
Project.
The police station didn't need one.
Because of the cost.
Because of the cost.
Yeah.
However, the great Commonwealth reduced the amount of a building cost that requires an OPM. Used to be anything under 3 million. Now it's anything under 1.5 million for an OPM. So usually, and that comes in probably is going to be anywhere between 75 to 125,000 to get someone of qualification. There was discussion about the building inspector. If someone's thinking that's not fair. To ask your building inspector.
He's got to be there all the time, right?
Exactly. There's concrete pours, there's sign-offs, there's things that on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know. I renovated a building for an old warehouse for the state back 20 years ago. We had a professional guy that was on, it was invaluable. It really was,
Yeah, the right person can save the town money.
Yeah. Which brings me to the contingency. I always hate those because I figure they're gonna find the contingency.
They look at that number and go, yeah.
Okay, I can find that.
But again, so we are gonna run the capital plan or program and raise funds. And we hope to reduce that number. But we also don't want to go to the town and say, you know, we anticipate we're gonna raise $500,000 or $1 million.
You don't want to put that out there.
And don't hit that, so,
Yes. Do you think you could be ready for a fall town meeting?
yes, yes.
If I can just point another thing out, Craig, to your question. We did reduce the size, the overall size. We tried not to reduce the storage, so if you compare the two, storage took a smaller reduction. But one of the other things is that we've kept, which might seem kind of frivolous, but they're income generating, and that's the boutique and the cafe. So those two are somewhat of an income generating, which would help to sustain.
Are they currently being run right now?
They're,
Or is it a proposal?
I'm sorry,
Is it a proposal to expand upon something?
it is, yeah, the boutique, and if I can, Becky, yeah.
We just had a boutique gift shop sale for the month of August, the first week of September, and the tag sale on Saturday. And numbers are still being crunched, but we brought in about $6,400.
So that boutique would help to bring, and
Is that where people sell their things, or like the artisans or stuff like that, or?
Well, it's kind of an ongoing tag
Yeah.
sale.
Ongoing tag sale, okay.
yeah.
Kind of thing,
Nice.
yeah.
And the other thing, the cafe, with the advent of the, if you will, the electric charging stations, the EV charging stations, you know, somebody can
Come on in.
yes, and have a coffee or a Danish or something, contribute. So, there is some income, we did keep,
Yours are over there.
we tried to keep as much income generating.
Those are level 3s.
Yeah.
So
Very popular.
it's a 20-minute sit.
Yeah.
There's not many of them, so they'll probably be popular.
Yeah, and so for 20 minutes, we may be able to sell coffee and whatever.
Door-to-door service?
I don't know. Car hop, have a car hop come out, you know,
I'm not sure any of them could do
roller skate out there.
True.
All right, well, sounds like a plan. Right.
Don?
Don, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that the seniors component in town is the largest segment of people growth in town. In the 2010 federal census, there were just over 1,200 people over 65. As of this past May, numbers I got from EVA, there are now over 2,000, which is a 63% increase in the senior population of the town. So, and in terms of the amount of programs there, if you look at described, there's 30 programs run at the senior center, and many of them require storage space for supplies and equipment to put on the program.
Quickly, if I could just say, I've been involved in this since the 2 years it started. But Gary brought up a point about people say, well, the seniors are for us to take care of. But there's also a difference in that the seniors nowadays are more engaged later. And we talked before about storage needs and program needs is the big thing. The senior center came about because 25 years ago, the bottom of the town hall was not enough room for the programs then. Carol, you were involved in that time. Now we're seeing the same growth again. The selectmen, we're dealing with the problem of the town hall. We're out of room here. We're looking for a solution. The highway garage was out of room. We came up with a solution. So I think the work of the committee in dealing with both storage and program, you've done what you had to do. You came up with a compromise, and I think I appreciate that, because everything you said back at the beginning was needed. There was no fluff in the original plan. But we appreciate the fact you came back to us and said, everybody's taking a little bit, we'll do what we can as well. So, thank you for your work.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
If I can just add, I think every member of our committee is cognizant of, you know, what you guys, I'm saying you as the select board, or selectmen, however you want to state it, okay?
Select persons.
Select people, are trying to do, okay? And, you know, with the inclusion of Thornton Burgess, you know, we understand. And also, you know, I've been close to the fire department, whether on the outside, kind of looking in and hearing what you guys are trying to do. And, you know, I commend every committee that is really trying to watch the dollars, but trying to increase the effectiveness of either the buildings or what they're doing.
Thank you.
Great, good luck, October 8th?
9th.
9th, October 9th.
October 9th, and thank you.
We tell the troops, carry on.
Yep.
We need it.
Here, have a cookie.
You can have a cookie. Oh, we didn't.
We already said that.
Give Grace
It's there,
cookie.
yeah, we agreed upon that. We
Sorry.
can-
They can afford their own.
Thank you,
They
gentlemen.
got much better cookies than we have, that's for sure.
I wouldn't know.
Employee benefits, life insurance.
Ready?
Yes, sure.
All right. About a month and a half ago, the treasurer came and told me that the town hadn't been doing a very good job of managing its life insurance, employee-provided life insurance benefits, in the sense that there hadn't been an open enrollment period and new hires were not being informed of that possible benefit. So I have, we met with Mark Jones, right? Lauren and I and Dick met with Mark Jones, and you're from Boston Mutual. That's who our current provider is. And we talked about holding a open enrollment session for all existing employees. And then we talked about whether the current benefit, which was $10,000 for active employees, $2,000 for retirees, was adequate. And so tonight, I guess my request, I have two requests. One is that the board give its blessing to us holding an open enrollment for new employees. And the second one is to consider increasing the life insurance benefit from $10,000 to $15,000 for active employees.
So this would be an impact to the current FY25 budget, or?
So obviously the open enrollment, depending on how many people sign up, it would impact the FY25 budget. And also a change in the plan, a change in the plan benefits would impact the FY25 budget.
And you have currently 9 signed up?
Currently 9 out of 39.
And 10 retirees?
eligible.
10 retirees? Do we pay the retirees, or do they pay us themselves?
Retirees are 100% employee, 100% retiree paid.
Retirees pay.
And then active employees is 50/50.
Okay.
So if you had to ballpark how much more you need to put in, do you have any idea?
So $5.80 per person, $5.80.
It's currently $5.80 per person now.
It would go to $11.60. So the cost per enrollee is 11.
580.
Oh, that's current, I'm sorry.
So it would, the town share is $5.80 then. If we went to the 15,000 benefit, it would go to $8.10 per person per month. Be an increase of $2.30
Per
per
month,
enrollee per month.
times potentially,
What if everybody, that's for the 9, right?
yeah.
What if everybody signed up?
So the annual difference, if all eligible employees enroll, that's that. And we switch to the 15,000,
Yeah,
it's that last number there. So the annual increase would be $2,916. The bottom right number.
And we currently have we're currently talking about an increased employee benefits anyhow in the fall,
town meeting, right?
right?
Yeah, that's judging on the current life, health insurance estimates, it's gonna be somewhere probably around 90,000, based on current health insurance enrollment
Well,
numbers.
that's enrollment. The cost, the jump in the cost was still 0%. It's an enrollment question, right? Like, I believe Dick came to us and said it was a 0% change.
It's an enrollment
Right,
question.
right.
Right, and part of that's a factor of our estimate being too low this year, based on numbers from FY '24. Our FY '24 costs, so the reason, where I get the 90,000, that's about how much, it was close to how much the account was over. So what I took is I took the current health insurance rates that we're paying now, times the current number of subscribers that we have.
Okay.
And that gave us the projected
So
cost.
if you were looking at 90, or you said, look, rolled up to 100, we'd have enough if we go ahead with the life insurance change.
Yeah, there should
Right.
be
Yeah.
sufficient funds.
And the open enrollment period is when? April?
It was something that we would set.
Okay.
We would just open enrollment
All
for
right,
the
well.
existing benefit eligible 39 employees.
I guess we could ask, are there any employees here that take that life insurance?
To be quite honest, I didn't know it was an option when I started.
It's not for you.
Well, I do now. I guess same with Lauren, so we were sort of the two.
You didn't know about it?
I didn't know.
I guess we don't advertise it very well.
To me, that goes to the open enrollment question. There's really two questions here. Open enrollment for those who might not have known they had the opportunity to sign up, and then the other one is,
If I
should we
look
increase
at
it or
my
not?
810 times 39,
Mark, do you think that's a fair number, going to,
Yeah,
especially with the cost of funerals and things like that?
yeah, Ludlow just increased theirs to 20,000. Similar sized communities like Waynesboro, Sheffield, they're up to $20,000 and $15,000 respectively. And what we would offer, John, is what we're doing in all the communities going forward, is as you get new hires, you email their information to us, and then we'll have a Boston Mutual enrollment rep reach out to those employees to explain what the town offers and how it works and all those kind of things. So take that a little bit off of, the town's plate, if you will. Instead of making them insurance experts, have a licensed insurance representative communicate those benefits to them.
Okay.
And what we would do is we would have the Boston Mutual enrollment team come out to the town. We're gonna be doing Palmer, and we just finished up in Ludlow. We're in Springfield right now, West Springfield. So we have an enrollment team come here. They would work with the department heads, like the highway department go out there 7 in the morning. Police department have to roll calls, shift changes, those kind of things. Make sure that all employees have the opportunity to find out what the town's offering, how it works.
Sounds like the right thing to do. Having lost a few family members, I agree with what Mark said, the costs nowadays are
very
certainly
expensive.
climbing up.
Very expensive. That's why you just can't die.
We're explaining that too, is that in the handbook?
Bigger senior center.
Oh, nice.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to, right now, I think we have the question of, you're making the point that some towns are going to 20.
Right.
I'd like to see a proposal what it's gonna cost if we go to 20, and then come back for a motion. We know we're touching the account anyhow. So I'd like to see what the difference in projected cost would be. If maybe Brian can come back with that next week.
Another $1,000 maybe.
This doesn't need to be done tonight,
10 to
so,
15,
you know,
2 to 29.
I don't think potentially doubles, but it's gonna be, obviously be higher.
What we're also gonna do, John, is during the open enrollment, is we're gonna offer the employees some voluntary insurance. So the town by state statute, for the basic insurance that we're talking about, the law says you have to pay at least 50%, which is what your town's doing now. So we're gonna offer the employees some voluntary term insurance, where if they think that the 15,000 is not enough, they can purchase some with no medical underwriting. And we're also gonna offer them some whole life insurance. So if they wanna take some insurance now, lock it into their age, when they leave, whether it's 6 months later or 6 years later, they can keep that insurance at the same rate. Where typically they lose that insurance when they leave the town. Or if they retire, it goes down to 2,000. So we're gonna have some options to cover their families above and beyond the $15,000.
Right, but I also want to be clear that we're also talking about this is something the employee is going to participate in as well.
Yes.
If we're increasing the rate, it's a cost sharing between the employee and the town.
Correct.
Right, okay,
Right, on the basic insurance.
Exactly,
On the other
exactly.
stuff, it's all
all employee.
employee, yeah, right.
What do you think, Don?
Do you find there's a price point where the employees don't take it? If you're paying $10 a month or 15 bucks.
What we actually find is the opposite. When the law was written in the 60s, again, inflation times are different, the law said the towns had to offer a minimum of 2,000 And believe it or not, we still run in some towns that have never even addressed it and are still at $2,000. And that's where you see employees who don't take it, they go, $2,000 isn't even worth it.
Right.
So when you start getting up to a level of $10,000, $15,000, the employees see a value in that, and they know the town's picking up half of that for them. So you see the participation increase. So, and again, I think as Brian said, that there hasn't been a communication process in the past for the new employees, new hires. So we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen for you in the future by having that process in place for new hires. So I think 15,000 is probably a good number, John, and then if they wanna take some more, it's gonna be available to them.
Again, but I'd like to see, you know,
Yeah.
what it will cost us at 15 and 20, Don, there's not a,
Well,
you
15
know,
we,
a rush, you know, we could
Yeah.
finance it
About
next
900.
week.
what?
You're looking about 900 above where we are right now.
Well, if he figures about 900 above for 20,000.
900 above the 15, so 15 to what, 29? So you factor, we went from 10 to 15, and went up 900, so.
We can close that in for next week. I'd like the 20 if we can just make that
Could
happen.
you give us a 20 quote?
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know if we're ready for next week, John, to be honest with you, but I'll get it expedited as soon
Okay.
as they can generate the numbers.
all right,
And
thank you.
we can set up the new enrollment, that's, you're okay with the new enrollment period?
Yes,
Okay,
we can set the enrollment period, so we'll just figure out how much.
yes.
Okay,
All right, so I'll get those numbers for you, and I'll get them to
Yep.
Brian.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank-
Thanks, thank
Thanks,
you.
Steve.
Mark, always a pleasure.
Well, let's get this electronic voting thing decided here.
Just a question of how to pay for it, in my mind.
Brian made a suggestion.
Well,
I just don't think 200 is enough.
I don't think 200 is enough.
no, I thought the higher thing
350.
still was under, he had a higher one that was under 10,000, so we didn't need to bid. Didn't you have one that was in the 3 or 4 that was 9,000 something? One of those emails?
The outright,
Rental.
Meridia was with only 200 devices, so it was 9,995.
I did get another quote earlier today from Option Technologies. I got a quote both for rentals and for buying it, and I did base it on 300, judging from the email that Brian had sent out before. Renting them for 300 would be $1,735 for, obviously, that's just for the one meeting. You see how it goes from there, and purchasing the system with a 120-month license would be $1,105. Excuse me, $11,509. So there's, with the 300 versus the Meridia, it's pretty close with regard to the price of purchasing the system.
Still puts
But we're
us over
looking at a 10-year versus a 1-year on that. And with the lease on, well, the rental on that, it's significantly lower than the Meridia quote. I didn't send it to you specifically, I sent it to Lauren because I knew she'd send it to you guys eventually, because I didn't give it to her in time for it.
The company you talked to earlier, Brian, was it
Meridia.
Meridia? Were they the ones that said that they would use the rental charge towards the cost of the purchase?
Yeah.
But if we had the people come in and train, that would be a wash?
So they have this outright purchase package, which includes on-location support at the first town meeting.
Yeah.
So essentially what they were saying is if we rent, right, that's essentially gonna offset that town meeting support. So yeah, I don't want to reduce them, yes, they would reduce it by that cost. But it sounded like we couldn't do the outright purchase without the support, essentially what I got from that.
So if we did the 400 clickers for rental at 8,700, and then decided maybe we appropriated money at the special town meeting to buy it, would we be allowed to use all the 8,700 towards the purchase price?
That was not my understanding.
Towards the purchase price of the 400 clickers?
Right. I mean, they're estimating it would cost $17,000 to buy 400, or $8,700 to rent 400. If we rent, like it, and within 30 days decide to buy them, how much do we get off the purchase price?
At 400?
Yeah.
I read his email to, I'll double check, but I read his email to that, for that to be the case, but,
We would get the whole thing off, basically, and so if we
or maybe not.
appropriated another or motion for another 10,000 at the town meeting, and it passed, we could then say, okay, we're gonna buy them, leave them here.
My understanding was that was it a $3,000, oh, I'm sorry, $4,500 staff support was
Right.
not something that you would put toward a purchase price.
You wouldn't need it the next time. You wouldn't need it the next time, because you've already paid for it once, right?
Right,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be deducted from the cost at all on Meridia. Of course, the cost of renting them from Option Technologies doesn't include on-site staff. That would be remote, and they deal with appointment, so to speak. But they give them information up front. He gets clickers and everything up front, and they are able to run tests and everything before they're set up at town meeting.
Yeah.
That cost, again, was significantly less than $1,735.
Yeah, why is there one rental package that has up to 1,000 clickers and an on-site member for 9,000?
Because it keeps them in the state bid.
No, I'm saying, so that one gets up to 1,000 for 900, or this one gets 400 for $9,000.
I'm not sure where you're seeing that, you get up to 1,000 members.
It was on the August 27th email to Brian.
Yeah, there was an email there about that.
Oh, breaking me down, Don.
That's for rent, for purchase.
Anybody?
My understanding at rental was $10 per device. And I think that the one for Option Technologies was $4.
Well, we still need to get bids then, it's over 10 grand.
Right.
So even if we rent it and then decide we want to buy it, it's going to put us over the 10, right?
I don't know.
Huh? Right?
Would you say there's two separate things?
Let's loophole.
Well, you're renting, you're doing a rental thing. Now you're going to the guy, want to buy him, oh, because you rented them before, it's a discounted price, but it's a separate action.
Right.
Right, so no.
I say we rent 400.
Yeah.
We rent 400 for this town meeting, we don't get the guy to come.
Don't get the guy to come.
Don't get the guy to come, we can figure, you can figure it out.
Sure. Brian, you got to figure it out.
I don't think it's going to be terribly
We
complicated.
We'll figure it out.
figured out we can't.
Well, I think we can, we'll try it out, and the reason I like Meridia is because Long Meadow and other towns around here have it, and if we need to borrow, a big town meeting, we need to borrow, we can do that,
Option Technologies as well.
yeah. So,
And he did send a list, which I didn't provide, but
you think we'll get 400 at this town meeting? How many seniors you getting out?
Well, that's the on-site
What happens if
staff.
we go over 400?
Now, the on-site staff for during the town meeting, but how about the setup? I mean, is that separate than the setup? I mean, they ship the stuff, you're hooking it up to the Wi-Fi, or,
We're doing everything.
The Wi-Fi,
Do they have a YouTube
no, it's
channel?
not Wi-Fi based, it's radio.
It's not Wi-Fi based, right?
RF.
it's what?
Correct.
It's RF.
Okay.
Couldn't we have the people from Long Meadow
I was just gonna say,
come over and
offer them some cookies.
train us? We got cookies.
I'm sure if we go in
That would work.
auditorium for half an hour, we could probably figure out.
Go to their town meeting.
But big thing, we need it here early in October. They can't show up on
Yeah,
the
so what?
28th.
They asked for 45 days.
45 days? Let's get on it.
Well,
But you have a certain amount of time to apply it towards the new purchase, so it's got to be kind of, you can't take a beginning of October, because that will wipe out your date.
30 days.
Right, so,
well,
but you need training time, so you need them on the 15th,
Yeah,
basically.
2 weeks.
I
Yeah,
think they give you about a week training time with Option Technologies. I'm not sure what Meridia was. So you get them in advance, at least a week before.
yeah.
yeah.
So is that what I hear? We're looking to rent 400
Yes.
with on-staff location?
No.
On-staff support?
No,
So just the 4270?
yeah, we can pay for it.
Support was
You know what?
expensive.
You go back to them, maybe they'll drop that price. We're not interested in, well, we'll do staff support for 1,000. Maybe we'll talk. Right now, I'll make a motion to authorize town administrator to do a 400 clicker rental with delivery middle of October, and pay for it out of, we actually don't, we could probably pay it out of selectmen expenses at this point, yeah.
Expenses.
Right, pretty low.
Second.
And do you want to amend that to have Eva be retired to the training?
I'm all in on that
Oh,
one.
yeah.
You should probably actually want to do that without having to volunteer. You know?
All right, any further discussion?
Back to handbook.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What time are we gonna have town meeting? John likes 6:30, what do you like?
But I know you haven't had.
We had a long agenda, a long warrant, I really think, 6:30, especially now it's a week that, Tuesday night.
Can we set the date upon closing, or is that too late? So that
Well, the date's already set, you mean the time?
I'm sorry, set the
Yeah.
time upon closing, so that way we have an idea of what's actually on the warrant.
Well, I think, Brian, is it up to almost 30 articles at this point?
I'm making it as long as possible.
And
Just kidding.
this is not the kind
It's
of
about 30.
town meeting warrant that has the consent stuff at the beginning, everything is.
No, we don't have any consent
No,
stuff.
so I think starting early is, everything's gonna have discussion.
Yeah. It's just-
There's no revolving account, there's no thousand, everything, starting with the selectmen stuff.
We're
right
gonna
at the
forego our
beginning.
meeting beforehand then? We're gonna forego our meeting beforehand?
No, we're starting at 3.
Better have more cookies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be decided now, but we do need to get it out and.
Let's decide, let's
All right, great.
decide.
A motion that we do the fall special town meeting, starting at 6:30 on October 29th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there you go, 6:30. All right. I'm telling you, we make decisions like that, it's unbelievable.
Who are you again?
Where are we?
Who are you? Who are you?
Where are we on the agenda?
Who are you?
Review of the current and possible fall town meeting warrant articles. Okay, let's go down this.
It's just that PM.
The 29th? Did we decide that?
Yeah, it's Tuesday. We don't want that,
Mine like a steel trap, Doc.
we don't want that day. All right, no, you can probably take the, so you can, it's neither here nor there, but town clerk elected to appointed. Okay, John made the point, we probably should move up the select board, selectmen,
There's that last one there. I think, I should move up to number 4. Right, keep them all together,
keep them all together.
which was number 22.
22 goes up to number 4. So we have town clerk elected to appointed, treasurer collector elected to appointed, board of selectmen to 3 to 5 members, and board of selectmen changed from selectmen to select board. Right? And then we got,
See if anybody's still left there, if they haven't left by then.
and then we're gonna have established revolving fund for the electric vehicle
Yeah.
charge, that's the, should you put on that, to see what town to vote to amend, should you put the general bylaws? Chapter 3, so we know where we're going with that,
Yep.
because that's in the general bylaw. Or maybe town bylaws, chapter 3, you know?
Yep.
So this is gonna be the fees, and then we're gonna, electric vehicles, okay. so maybe-
Basically codifying what we did during our
Yeah,
meeting.
Yeah, and then Article 5 is the spending limits, put a limit on it.
That was arbitrary that I put in on.
Okay, yeah, I think 10,000, you think 10,000, 10,000 is enough for that, right?
I don't think we have a really good sense, I mean, we'll get that number down. We don't have a good sense of how much that is gonna bring in.
We don't,
Oh,
I don't think so. Do you?
because we have to pay the electricity out of that account.
right,
But again, I go back to Craig's point here. We have a type 3. It's gonna be popular. My son lives down the street. They're like, oh my gosh, I can go down instead of plugging into the house and in 15 minutes, be ready to go to Boston. It's gonna be a popular thing.
Maybe we can get some advice on them.
Yeah.
engineers on,
All right.
finally get back to it.
And we gotta figure out a pricing.
That's the thing, so I think,
The average price, I saw that the average pricing for electric charging is 50 cents per kilowatt hour. But some towns like East Long Meadow do it on an hour basis. You know, so if you're.
Minimum hour.
If you're plugged in for an hour, it's X number of dollars. They have 6 of them at the library, but not level 3. There's no level 3s around.
which library?
East Long Meadow Library, there's 6 of them,
Really?
6 level 2s.
You know, I never noticed them.
Yeah, I know, neither did I. Matter of fact, I've been over there 100 times, and finally I said, I gotta go over and see where these things are. And where they are is, if you know where the Walgreens is? If you look, if you're standing at Walgreens, you look straight across to the right-hand side of the library, there's 6
I never
parking
park on
spaces.
that side, they're on the library side?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
you usually park at the back there, right, with the town, like the town hall side, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we need the article, we just don't need the number in there yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Did
Oh, wow, look at this, he's already got 6 in there.
additional funding for insurance account, that's the benefit thing, and we can add
We can
the
slide in the
insurance.
other two,
You categorize stuff too.
Police Department career incentive,
Yep.
we didn't include that, but there was an additional officer, so we need to include that. That's $7,500. Additional funding for the cemetery commission account, what's the story there?
I just received a request for a placeholder.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't, they
Something
don't
to
know
do
if
with
they need
cemetery
it.
maintenance, they were gonna get back to it. The cemetery commissioners were gonna
Okay.
provide information about that.
Okay, do we need them to provide this, or just get up on the floor and make their case? I mean, they are an elected board.
No, they got, they.
Do they need to really come to us and talk about it, or
We
just?
just need to know how much,
Yeah, right.
right? Senior center expansion and renovation, municipal fiber placeholder.
Is that just gonna be talking, you think, Craig?
It could go one of 2 ways at the moment, but
Well, yes.
it's either talking or nothing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Water district expansion phase 2.
I don't even know if we're ready for phase 1 yet, but
Yeah,
I just wanted to leave it on there.
yeah.
okay.
How long, when do you think, if you send that grant application in, how long do you think that'll be before we hear back?
We're gonna have a phone call with Time Bond on Wednesday, and we'll get more information
I
about
think that was pretty encouraging.
Yeah, to be invited back to submit a full
Yeah,
application is
yeah,
pretty
the full
encouraging.
applicant was good, so. Fire station hazardous materials abatement, this is the asbestos tiles,
4 tiles.
floor tiles. He thinks around 10,000, I think he
Yeah,
said the last
doubt
time.
it.
Fire station generator installation,
Your favorite?
my favorite topic, next to double poles, my favorite topic.
Oh, yeah.
No, all right. Electronic voting system, we purchase, so we can decide if we're gonna purchase or not. Green Meadows Elementary School capital item placeholder.
So that was the walkthrough we did with Daryl and Aaron. They've got some capital needs at Green Meadows, such as the roof, et cetera. But the point that we made to them was, if you're coming to the fall town meeting, it needs to be an emergency use. You can't be saying, this is something we want to get done next summer, because if it's next summer, come to the annual
Right.
and get the money done. There are 2 things they're talking about. One is I don't want to get into it, the doors, the outside doors, and the keying for the inside doors is not consistent. From a school safety standpoint, they feel that's important. They can't, all of a sudden, an emergency happens, they're looking through a keychain to figure out what opens E4, rather than one master key that works them all. The headers on the outside doors, basically where the screws go in to hold the doors, have, I don't want to say rotted away, that wouldn't be right, but they've worn enough so they're not secure.
Aren't they metal?
Metal, so again, but they're kind of aluminum, not steel. So the point we made to them is, they'll sound like good needs. If that work is going to be done before the annual town meeting, you should bring it forward.
Is this general maintenance stuff, though? Under the
It's
general-
pretty good money. It's 50 grand for this type of work.
Yeah,
But again,
you sent the thing.
the same point is that the purpose of the fall town meeting, spending from free cash, something's going to be done right away. If, in our opinion, it was something, we're going to do it over Christmas break, and take care of it, then
I guess my question is, though, lock maintenance, wouldn't that be normal yearly?
it's not me, it's a rekeying of all, I can't even guess how many doors there are at Green Meadows, but I'm gonna say it's probably 100 plus. You know, between classrooms, the door, the whatever, and they need to have a master system, so if there's a school emergency, they have to go in, they need that. That was a lower amount of the two door problems, but it was still well over $10,000.
I guess,
And they looked at that as the two they would want to address during the downtime in the current school year.
to your point, if it's not an emergency, put it off, but if that's been an ongoing known problem for a while, why has that not just been fixed out of the?
It's been on their list. These are things, you know, they took, whether it was replacing the broken pipe under the floor, well, it's gonna leak through and bubble. They have floor issues they want to take care of, Brian, right? The bathroom floors.
Why are they not fixing the locks is my question.
They don't have the money for it.
But they're responsible for repairs up to 50,000, right?
30,000.
30,000.
Yeah, and they use that money somewhere else. Everything is a choice, just like in your own home. Do we do the roof? Do we do the drains? Anyhow, so, but I think the key thing there is that, as we told them, you need to come back. If you're looking for the money on an emergency basis, it needs to be spent before annual town meeting. Otherwise, put it in the annual budget.
I don't have a specific request that the town has received from the district. This is just.
Yeah, we asked Aaron to forward that along, you know.
All right, so they don't, so if we get it, we'll deal with it then.
If we have it, we have it. If we don't, we don't.
This repairs, regular. Parking lot, windows and dryers, replace exterior windows. Oh, I see, this is the newest thing. All right, so when we hear from them, we'll hear from them.
Right.
Okay, the electric plate unit. Thornton Burgess School Improvements and Reoccupancy. I talked to Brian about this a little bit, and I thought we might need to put some money in, so for the planning, if we move in there, but I don't know how much, I don't have a sense.
Yeah.
I don't have a sense so much. Community Preservation Act.
Okay, so we have a number from, obviously this is all CPA money anyhow, but we're calling a meeting of the CPC board, and the number right now is 20,000 they're asking for 2 new scoreboards at Memorial Park. I will tell you, having been involved in scoreboards for, I don't know, since the guy changed them by hand, this is an incredible price. I think the original 2 that were there, probably going back to when Glennis was chair of Park and Rec, this might have gone up $1,000 from the original cost 20 years ago.
You keep that Fenway Park theme?
They're going to keep the Citro thing on the top, yes. Why, is the team doing well?
They're playing the playoffs.
We'll get them next year.
Yeah.
Okay. National funding, okay.
Football season, John.
National Grid Utility Easement. Well, this is for the easement for the charging station.
Right, yeah.
We already signed it, but we gotta, okay. Bridge layout, Rocket Dundee Bridge?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen, okay. Purchase property on North Road.
That's not CPC?
It's the second half, like we had to do with the, was that Potash, Tony's property? Remember, we had to come 2 different articles, Tony and Olga,
Yeah, but isn't this the one that they want us to buy the land?
which was already appropriated from CPC before, but this is actual doing the deed part.
Oh, so there's no money involved here?
No.
No money here. Conservation restriction, North Road.
Same thing.
So that's,
This is the parking, this is the
this
actual
is gonna
parking
take care of the
place
deeds, and this is gonna take care of the actual.
where they can make the parking now for the
Okay. Okay.
22 already.
Battery energy storage system. They just, as a matter of fact, the Attorney General just approved Wilbraham's yesterday, on the 5th, they approved those. So I had Lauren call over there, get a copy, but they haven't posted it yet, so. Citizens petition, we don't know, okay, zoning map, this is the stray horse, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen there. Citizens petition, that's just to put in there if anyone's got any.
So there's no,
There's no particular petition. Financial transfers, transfer to general stabilization fund, if we're gonna do that, and then transfer to reduce the tax rate.
Yeah, technically, there's three, but the other one never really happens. That's the transfer actually from stabilization to reduce the tax rate,
Okay.
you know,
is that the one that it got pulled off last year and we were scrambling?
right, because we forgot to put it on. There's always three, two from and free cash. Free cash one is never in the spring because there is no free cash. Right. Although we haven't talked about it, Don, we do want to commend Cliff and everybody on the quick reporting back from the state.
Yes,
Pretty good number,
yes.
so.
We're not gonna reveal it though, because we don't want to spend it.
I thought you were talking about a raise.
Right,
Article what?
right, okay. All right, cable TV license, where are we with that mess? I don't understand it.
Sign it.
What?
You just
So you have
signed
a
it.
26-page draft license
I dropped my cable, I'm fine.
that our attorney has drafted up. Most of, 98% of that is boilerplate language that was recently approved between Charter and the Town of Hadley. Really, the decision that the board has to make here is what to do in terms of what's called community programming or PEG access. So that's a separate revenue source that the town can ask of Charter to support public education and government programs. So it's really 13, it's really section 13 of the agreement. And the decision that needs to be made is whether the town wants to request those funds from Charter. And so it will be a request for funding, and it will be a request that Charter make available 3 channels on their cable network. Many other towns have these community access channels. And so when I was talking with the attorney, I said, well, we really don't have a need for a student to play with.
We don't have a studio, we don't have.
We don't have a studio. Maybe there might be some educational components, but I think the biggest thing would be in terms of broadcasting government meetings. So that funding could be used to purchase equipment for cameras, for other equipment, microphones, things like that, that would be needed to broadcast boards and committee meetings, but also it could help us with purchases for building out our town meeting infrastructure, town meeting broadcast infrastructure. So that's one of the things that the board has identified as wanting to improve upon, sort of that broadcast where nobody can really see very well, nobody can't really see the video well, and you can't really hear very well in the video. That would be a source, not only for initial capital costs, but also an annual payment from Charter to support those operations.
Is it anything related to that? Like you're talking about building out the town meeting, like say a town meeting in auditorium at TWB is very echoey. Would that cover like sound panels and stuff like that?
I think, in my opinion, yeah, it would be, as long as it's related to, to that broadcast,
Yeah.
I think that would be an acceptable expense.
Is there a minimum amount of programming that needs to be on those? So if they can sit dormant until we have a meeting, as long as it's publicized that, hey,
Yeah.
you can watch it here.
In some of the towns that I'm familiar with, they run a PowerPoint slideshow 24/7 on one of the channels. It's sort of the news section of the website. It just has different slides. They go 24/7, and then when it's time for the meeting, cut in live. And then the meeting shows on cable access TV, and obviously at the same time, we can stream it.
How will we send it to them?
They would take care of all the back end stuff.
Yeah.
So we would essentially have a switcher board or a switch.
Yeah.
And we had this in Whately, where I was before. We just have to hit a button, and our live feed would go out to the head end that Charter managed.
And would-
Just go out to all the different TVs.
Would we be able to, is it gonna be in color?
Yep.
Wow. Would we be able?
No sound though, just color.
Have one of those?
Just puppets, Don,
Really?
puppets.
Color TV?
We got one in the back room, we never use it. Do they, so they could do a Board of Selectmen meeting live?
Yep.
And would there be a recording later on for some of the other meetings, like planning board or conservation or something? Could they? be on
Yeah, as
there?
long as they are willing to hit the button and go live.
But let's say they.
And it's still recorded too, it's recorded and broadcast, yes.
Okay, so let's say, you know, we're meeting in conservation and planning are all meeting on the same day for some reason.
Yep.
Right, they're only gonna do one live, right? So can the other two that recordings be posted at some other time?
Yep.
Okay.
So we have
There's
Three
3
channels,
channels, so
so-
Three
if we
channels.
had the equipment to go live, then we could go live in 3 of the different rooms.
A lot of dead space. A lot of dead-
So they would provide the equipment also? In other words, as Don said, if we had planning board conservation, same evening,
Yep.
that could be, one of them could go live, one could be recorded, and you could watch it at a later date on one of the 3 channels.
Yes.
Okay. And
Well, if you want to give away all the money from the pay-per-view channel, I mean, yeah.
So the cable company will be responsible for what's called, I think it's called the head end, which is all the back. We would be responsible for the switcher, the cameras. We would be responsible for anything on the
local end.
the local end of the production.
so this may dovetail into what we're going to be talking about next is, you know, Thornton Burgess. You know,
Right.
we could set up,
Oh, I skipped that.
Yeah. My hope would be that this funding could be made available to set up, certainly for town meeting.
broadcast room.
And obviously broadcast rooms or separate meeting rooms that have much improved broadcast capabilities.
right, in other words, if and when we move to Thornton Burgess and planning board has, and I'm saying planning board, but conservation may have an office that might be bigger than
Package store.
you could actually hold a meeting in.
Yeah.
The possibility is there to have the meeting in that room and then televise it.
Yep. The cost we'll have to be careful of is, so that room would likely need its own switch probably.
Yeah, okay.
So if the more we have, if we want to outfit one broadcast room, it might be a little bit.
And we could still record another room, right, and send them the broadcast for later.
Yep.
Or we could submit it as a
Yep.
broadcast later. Because we have the ability to send whenever we want on their end, right? Like if we're recording, okay, we're gonna go live, or if we wanted to send pre-recorded content, right? It was just kind of the same thing.
Yeah, so how I've done it in the past is, there's a separate computer that runs the PowerPoint, and you just send, on the switch, you just send out that feed to the system. So if you just play the meeting recording on that computer, you hit the switch and you send out that
So
feed.
we could have one good quality room and then say another Zoom room where somebody recorded a Zoom meet video that we could just put out later if we had to, in a different room.
All right, what do we gotta do to get this done?
So the question is, does the board want to ask Charter for the PEG access funds? Because in the previous contract, there was no PEG access money that went from Charter to the town. And then the recommendation from the attorney is, if we want to do that, they recommend that, or they suggested that, so we can go up to 5%. They said Charter's likely does not want to go from 0 to 5%, because it's an increase for their subscribers that they wouldn't, so he was recommending starting at 1.5, and then maybe increasing it as we go along through the agreement. And then there's also a request for what's called PEG access capital funds, where we could request a fixed amount, a one-time payment to sort of get us going with some of the equipment. And all this is subject to negotiation with Charter. So we were making an.
This is a project that would qualify for that community compact grant stuff too. You know, so
Yes.
whether
Yeah, T-grant,
technology upgrade or whatever, so,
IT grant.
right.
So that's, he's wondering what sort of what we want to do in terms of starting the negotiations.
Let's see what we're paying them, let's move forward and see what you can do.
5%.
You can tell her on Wednesday when we talk.
Right, see what you can do, right? All right, tell them to move forward and see what you can do.
Okay.
All right, now you have to backtrack to implementation, reuse, planning text for the Thornton W. Burgess. What do you got on your list? And everything.
Soup to nuts. This would be a timeline. I mean, a lot of it's gonna, I feel like I was filling this in with half the information that I need, because we haven't seen the conditions assessment yet. But this is a timeline that could have us moving back in at the start, moving to Burgess at the start of the next fiscal year.
When do you think they will have the assessment?
I would like to think that we would get it in sometime in October. At least the conditions assessment, all the conditions assessment, all the on-site stuff has been done, they're just wrapping up the report.
Just writing it up.
That's not including the spatial planning analysis, which we'll need to set up a meeting next week.
So this is a kind of erroneous number, October 15th, to review.
Yeah.
So you want to run down the list real quickly?
Sure.
Go ahead.
September, draft vote and sign lease amendment with the district, which they do have a draft suggestion from the town as to what that should look like.
We've submitted that to them, yeah.
Funding article on the fall town meeting warrant, and work with time bond and completing the spatial planning analysis. October would be fall town meeting, approval of those funds for any preliminary planning or preliminary improvements. October received the conditions assessment. 3, determine preliminary layout and building operations. So that will hopefully be based on the spatial planning analysis that they provide us. 4, visit surrounding communities with former schools converted to municipal offices. Don had mentioned Granby, and the town that I live in, Southampton, also converted an elementary school, town offices. And hopefully have a walkthrough with utility partners for the Mass Saves program to see what can be done in terms of energy efficiency, lighting rebates for the school.
And we're also in on that grant for the energy guy, right? The EEOCP.
Right, so we have that, the regional, yeah, the EECBG.
Oh, yeah.
EECBG.
Yeah,
Energy efficiency concept.
Yeah, the efficiency guy, right?
Yep, so that would be hiring a regional energy manager.
Right, okay, we got 45,000 for that, hopefully. Okay, go ahead.
November, get the town staff to tour the building, and really any boards or committees that want to come in and look at it, and receive feedback on preliminary layout, technology, furniture, storage, security, building operations, sort of what do we need to do globally. Based on that, we could revise the preliminary layout and building operations based on that feedback, if we think it makes sense. We're going to need to do an assessment of the IT, the infrastructure that's currently existing in the school. Hopefully we can do that through an IT consultant and figure out, get a plan of what we need to be moving forward. That kind of dovetails in with what John had mentioned with the Community Compact IT grant. I think that's opening in December or January. So if we can have an assessment as to what we need to do, hopefully we could find funds through that program. December, we want to start discussions with the district about the personal property that is currently within the building. I'd like to know whether what they want to take and what they don't want to take. And if what they don't want to take we could use, I'd like them to leave it and transfer that ownership of that to the town. And anything that the town wouldn't use, I'd like the district to surplus that however they choose to do that, but not have it in the building.
Biggest question I have is the IT infrastructure, Wi-Fi and everything, are they taking that or leaving it in the building? Because that would create a substantial cost if we have to do all that again.
Yeah. One of the, in my mind, important issues we'll have to discuss, and this is December, discuss building maintenance. Facilities going to be a lot bigger and a lot more complicated than what we currently deal with. So we would have TWB, we still have this building that would need some level of maintenance. We would have several town buildings that we would need to consider how those are going to be maintained sort of long-term and cleaning, you know, on a short-term basis, upkeep. So, and hopefully in December, we'll have the conditions assessment, we'll have feedback from town staff, boards and committees, and we'll hopefully can pull together a list of exactly what we need in terms of capital improvements, short-term, medium-term, long-term, and also what we need in terms of personal property, so the filing cabinets, desks, chairs, things like that, as to what we would need for that. January, we've been told by the district that they anticipate having staff and students out of the building. I think that's the end of the second semester. So, all right.
Sounds about right.
And then, January, that's when the community compact IT grant opens. And I think we would have a pretty strong application for some IT improvements there. February, and some of these can sort of mesh together, but 10 quotes and cost estimates for any of the items that we need in terms of equipment, furniture, or some of the improvements that might need to be made. And also in February and March, we'll need to start pulling together sort of the budgets for the operations of the building. As in, separate from the capital request, there's going to be additional operating costs that the town's going to have in terms of heating, electricity.
Do we have any of that? I thought Don requested those.
He
Did they send
requested
those
it.
over
I
yet?
don't think they ever sent it over.
You
to us.
requested their financials, that what it takes to run the building.
Yeah, he did. He hasn't sent it yet. He did send me an email saying that he's sorry he didn't send it yet. They were just tied up with the mold thing and opening the school and all that kind of stuff. So I said, yeah, it's okay.
Still on the radar.
So he'll get it. He hasn't forgotten, he'll send it.
So we would obviously have changes to the budget, the operating budget, and then we may have some capital requests as well. So those articles would need to be on the intertown meeting warrant, which I'm assuming we're probably gonna close in April, and then May will be the actual town meeting. And depending on the funding and how the grant comes through, if there's needed IT upgrades, those could happen in May. I also suggest we solicit quotes from moving companies in May, as well as finalizing a schedule in May to do the actual move. I don't think we want a lot of people heavy lifting here. It's a good recipe for workers' comp claims, so we'd probably like to avoid those. If, assuming funding is available from town meeting, that's when we could start in on some of these short-term improvements for initial occupancy, maybe some medium-term improvements as well, depending on how it pans out. And that's why I mentioned we're a little bit moving forward with not complete information, but. So then the logistics of the move. This is just a suggestion at this point, but it seemed to me that if we actually close the in-person town offices on Thursday, June 26th, we're usually closed on Fridays, and then we would reopen, the move would happen Monday, June 30th, and Tuesday, July 1st. I allocated 2 days for those. So everything would get moved out of here into TWB. And then the week of, for the rest of that week, which is July 1st, July 2nd, and then the 3rd, with the 4th being Friday? 4th being on Friday.
Or just line up pretty well.
Yeah, so there'll be no in-person access to any of the town offices, and then we would reopen at TWB on Monday, July 7th. And in that week where it's closed, town employees would be there, but they would be unpacking everything and getting the offices set up and making sure that everything's working. And then as we move forward, continue with the medium and long-term improvements, as funding dictates and the needs, the needs that arise. That's really a rough first draft, but it's trying to get.
It's a pretty good outline.
Everything in order as to how we can make it work.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
Possibly.
All right.
Thanks, Brian.
Board of Selectmen meeting schedule, I think this is George, you wanted to bring this up?
Yeah, I want to toy with the idea of maybe the selectmen adopting a every other week meeting schedule. I thought we were pretty productive over the summer, a little bit on point and focused. Also allows time for our town administrator and selectman assistant to prepare for the following week and not rushing on Monday morning, try to get meetings and schedules and reaching out to people and the whoosies and the whatsies, the meetings done. So, and I thought it would, free us up a little bit and just create a little bit of a rhythm going forward. It doesn't mean we can't call a special meeting, but we had that schedule, at least benefit to all, I think.
Your opinion?
Well, I mean, the reason we started that many years ago is because the summer is pretty light work. I appreciate Craig's comments, but I think in light of the fact we've got a pretty busy special town meeting coming up here, I don't know if it's the time to really be looking at that. Perhaps it's something to engage with in November after we close the special town meeting.
All right, let's keep it on the agenda as a discussion topic.
I mean, we could say, yes, we'll agree to that, and, come end of town meeting, we could start on that schedule.
I think we need to see how it goes. I mean, we can set the schedule anytime we want. I wouldn't want to paint ourselves into a corner right now by agreeing to it. We used to have an every other, when I first started with Jim Smith, and every meeting went to 11 o'clock.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that the selectmen adopt an every other week meeting schedule after special town meeting in October.
Any second?
A second for discussion, because I mean, it's fair to Craig.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with their meetings. I think it's worked out pretty good. I think it gives them an opportunity to get prepared and really focus us on our agenda. And we can always call another meeting if something comes up, so I'd be in favor of that. Any further discussions? Hearing none, all in favor after the town meeting on October 30th?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? One abstention. All right, we got, the other thing I wanted to bring up is, we got the Fall Fest and the Public Safety Night Out, and I was wondering if that would be a good opportunity if we had a table or something.
Like you and I did at that other one.
Yeah, we got some commission openings, maybe we could have a draft of the warrant would be closed, then we could have a draft.
I think in the gym we did. We went
Yeah,
up to that.
we could have a draft, people could look at it, we could maybe have some of the electronic voting educational material out there, so I think we should think about getting that.
The dunk tank for the selectmen.
Dunk tank for the selectmen, right, yeah.
That'll get some money.
So we'll talk about that.
Wow, you want the discounted tickets right now? I'm sure you have.
I want my first shot.
Correspondence. We have,
So, shockingly enough, we do not have a one-day liquor permit.
Senior Center.
It's a slow night, I don't know why. But we do have a couple of requests for, Craig, these are mostly for the Fall Fest type thing.
I would assume so. They
Yeah.
look kind of
food
like it,
trucks,
Yeah.
right?
Food trucks.
Yeah, and either the night out or the thing, so a request for the Fellowship Cafe and Catering for October 12th. And a one-day permit, which is, it ends at 4 o'clock, so what's October 12th?
Is that the safety night, with October?
I thought that was the
11th
11th.
is a safety night, isn't it?
October 5th, the 11th.
To clean up the work.
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Hi, this is Abby
Hi.
Sullivan. Hi.
Abby.
Hi. So the October 12th is actually for our event. We are doing a cleanup for a cure. We're trying to raise money for the Pinkway Foundation, and we have a
is
bunch
it?
of vendors, and the
Oh.
food truck is actually for that.
Oh, and
that's-
AW, yes,
no,
affordable
okay.
waste.
Okay,
Okay, great.
all right,
Yep.
all right,
That makes more sense now.
all
That
right,
makes sense.
Yep.
thank you.
So say.
So.
If there's anything that we need, we're still obviously in like we've got all our vendors and everything set up for the most part, but if there's anything else that we need to get, I did stop in and talk to a couple people and I wasn't really sure who to speak to or what was needed. I didn't think I needed a permit for the day, but if we need to wrap anything up, we can always do that. I know
So it
Kim
looks
had
12
reached
to
out to
3?
somebody.
Yeah, it looks like
No, it's
gonna be 12
11,
to
it's
3.
11 to 3, I believe.
It said 12 to 3 on it, but that's fine.
Is that a
Okay.
beer, is that a beer and wine thing?
No, so we do have a couple vendors that have a traveling license. They're not doing any tours as far as I know. That's something I need to check in with them, make sure that they have their permitting in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, one thing, Lori, who filled it out, did say 12 to 3 on her application, but,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But if you're saying you need 11 o'clock, I don't think we're
The
really.
flyer says 11, so.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
So take a motion to issue a one-day permit from 11 to 3 on October 12th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we have
Thank you.
also.
Thanks,
Thank
Abby.
you, Addie, good luck.
Okay.
We also have another mobile food permit.
What's the date on that one?
That is the Fall Fest, October 5th. So Fried Guys, any,
What do they serve?
Is it burgers? Is it burgers?
yeah,
Five
yeah,
Guys?
but fried.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyhow, so that's, I'm shocked there's only one so far. I'm sure we're gonna be seeing more at every meeting.
Yeah.
Just like last time.
Yeah.
So we have a mobile for expires at 5:30 on the day of the Fall Festival. Craig, why was it they had two different dates? Why wasn't the Fall Festival and the night out the same day?
You'll have to ask the planners.
It seems like, you know,
Politics.
all right then. Good thing that doesn't affect us. Oh,
Had nothing to do with us. I think there was two different organizations running two different things.
That's too bad.
They couldn't come to a joint date.
Okay, so anyhow, mobile food permit on October 5th until 5:30 for Fried Guys.
So
And Fried is FRY''D.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, there's the menu, it's one.
Oh, they got a menu.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
handwritten.
Steak, chicken kebabs, chicken nuggets, chicken wings, hot dogs, french fries. Onion, oh boy, I can't bring Mrs. Davenport to
And just
this.
for any question, all food is fried.
All
Right.
food is fried.
However, I don't know if they knew about a new policy about samples before the permit.
Remind me to double up on my cholesterol.
Yeah, right. Oh, you got some of those left over from your days. And we have a request from the Black Sheep to get their food service establishment permit. I don't think they're anywhere close to ready, so if we're gonna, he's got all his online certificates, but I don't believe Finn has gone through.
We don't
As
have
you
a
said,
recommendation.
we don't have recommendations, so if we're gonna issue this, I think as Craig suggested, contingent on the health
Board of Health
inspector.
approval.
Right. I mean, it expires the end of the year anyhow, we're 2 months away, 3 months away. So looking for a permit to operate a food service establishment for the Black Sheep.
I will make that motion contingent upon Board of Health approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I see a National Grid poll petition here. We have that.
The assessor's office is working on to get the certified butters list.
Okay, waiting for the certified
Working on
butter.
it, yeah.
Okay. Tree lighting inquiry?
Being the date.
Was it the first Sunday in December, John, normally?
Usually has been, but I think Lauren had another suggestion.
Did you?
Or someone. Possibly the last Sunday in November, because the first Sunday in December is Thanksgiving weekend, so it might be tough for some people to attend that.
Hate to say, it's really,
What?
you know, it's been so involved with the school lately, it's really what works for them, right, Craig? It's been the chorus and all that. So,
Yeah, Thanksgiving is 28th.
Thanksgiving weekend, if we did it the first Sunday in December.
So you want to light the tree when?
24th,
Last Sunday in November, possibly.
The first?
24th,
Wait, the 24th, so the week before?
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably work out better for Green Meadow, for,
I'm all in
Green Meadows.
favor of extending Christmas.
Well, seeing how quick you got the decorations up for Halloween, I'm not surprised.
Christina decorates in October for Christmas, so I'm fine with it, you know.
Why take them down?
Yeah.
Why take them down?
She wants to do Christmas in July too. I said, fine, trees are going up.
I'm
Right, but yeah, I'm okay
I'll
with
make a
it.
motion
Can we
to
stay
Christmas
focused
tree
here?
lighting be November 24th.
Second.
Well, actually, what do you guys care? You haven't shown up for the last 3 years. Oh, you were there. That's right. Don, Town Hall, okay?
Is here?
Yeah. It's about the tree, is that where you've been?
Oh, I was in the wrong place all that time.
My golly.
I got my big tree, my 40-footer.
Is that where it went?
You want there with
Is
the
that where it went? So, motion to make it the 24th, November 24th.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Selectmen reports.
Gosh, I think we've pretty much covered everything that's, in one way or another. We do have the, obviously, building committee meeting again. Planning board is, we have a meeting, but the big meeting is going to be the 25th.
Master plan is the 11th, this Wednesday, and
During the day?
at 10 o'clock in the morning. And the other thing I'm on at the high school is the planning committee,
They're
the
getting together?
17th, they're getting together, the 17th. All right, what do you got?
I have nothing to report.
Town administrator.
We covered most of them. We need to start the spatial planning analysis, TWB. We mentioned the grant phase 2 for the up to $1 million for the water district expansion. So that's good news. We'll submit that second application. You should have received an email from the Wilbraham Regional School District about their improved communication strategy for events so that elected officials can hear about important events that are happening within the district. And we're supposed to have a call with Charter this morning, which Craig and I were going to have a call to talk about
Network enhancements.
network enhancements. That's what they told us. That's been moved to the 18th because Charter was not available. Charter rep wasn't available any longer, so.
Did you say that the grant that they asked you to apply was for the phase 2?
So there's like there's 2 rounds. There's the initial application to Mass DEP.
Yeah.
And then Mass DEP screens them out. And then if Mass DEP likes the project, then they ask you to submit a phase 2 application, which they forward to the EPA for consideration.
So if we got this money, it would be for the phase 1 project.
Phase 1 has already been appropriated at town meeting.
We could use it. We'll have to double check how the grant application was written. I think it was submitted for the entire project.
But, okay, all right.
It could cover phase 2.
Yeah, okay,
So
all right,
it could cover either one probably.
all right. Any further business to come before the board? Hearing none.
Whoa, Bobby's got her hand up.
I have a question. What are the hours of the Fall Fest?
12 to 5.
Let's start.
12 to 5.
The Fall Fest?
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking is that the Friends of Hampden Seniors at the Senior Center is going to have a truck event with Heart Springs,
Yeah,
where we have a recycling, and the Heart Springs truck's going to be there. We're advertising from 10 to 1, I believe.
Yeah, Hampden Fall Fest
Yeah,
is
12 to 5.
12 to 5.
12 to 5 for the Fall Fest.
Yeah, October 5th.
If we could, somebody wants to make up a flyer, we're passing out flyers for a couple of trips that are coming up in October and December, so if you want to do advertising for your Fall Fest, we can hand them out at our truck event.
okay.
Well, it's not our Fall Fest, but
It's the,
you do have, of course, a great thing happening this weekend, halfway to St. Patrick's Day, corned beef and cabbage dinners for pickup. Is it Sunday or Saturday? Sunday. There we go.
Laura Salerno is running.
Halfway.
I'm sorry?
Laura Salerno is running the Fall Fest. Salerno, Ed and Laura Salerno. They're running the Fall Fest.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, no, that's who they are. That's who's, no, the Fall Fest.
Oh, Fall Fest.
That's who's running it.
It probably is Laura, yeah.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. I was just, if you wanted to reach out to her.
Oh, yeah, I have
Yeah.
her contact. Thank you.
all right, any further business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hearing none, we'll continue. Any discussion? All in favor?
I didn't hear a second clearly, Mr. Chair. Wait, somebody said something.
Are you gonna be